the game. You don't play to just play it. Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40! Can't wait! Let's go! What are we talking about? You play to win the game.
Alrighty. What's good, everyone? Happy Saturday. Another day of football. Another day of college football, man. Before we get into our topics, my name is Greg Goods. I'm your host, and my other host, I got King and Gio. How y'all doing today?
What's up, man? What's up? How you doing, Greg?
Oh, man,
Doing good. It's another day to watch Georgia Bulldog football.
There you go.
There you go. You know what I mean? And with that being said, let's get hopping. I'm gonna ask you this one question: Do we believe? Do we believe in Colorado? That was what Deion Sanders said in press conferences after the TCU upset. They are now ranked number 22, if I'm not mistaken. Um, just first off, reactions to the first week of that game for anybody that watched it.
Okay, you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Colorado. That was like it was a pleasant surprise to see that happen. You know what I'm saying? When Deion stepped on the campus, the lowest bar set for them was like, okay, they could win 6 games and possibly become bowl eligible. But what we witnessed Saturday at first glance, like I was right. I felt like I was right. The main belief you talk about belief. The main thing is because Coach Prime has those boys believing in each other and believing in, and most importantly, believing in themselves and believing in him as well. He proved that he was a good coach when he was at Jackson State. He's going to prove that he's a great coach here in Colorado, and that's just my belief. You have those guys ready to fight for each other. They're playing hard for each other. And what we witness on Saturday, what they did with TCU was simply, like, in my opinion, amazing. It was great. Shedeur Sanders, 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. Travis Hunter, a dog, playing both sides of the ball. Like, what he had, like 7 catches or something like that for 100 yards, and then he had a pick on the other side. It was amazing. I think we're going to see exactly who Colorado is. If they get past Nebraska, and then they have Colorado State. But right after that, there's Oregon and USC. Once we get to the other side of that, let's see what happens with Colorado. That's just. But I'm thrilled. I'm on the hype train. Let's go, Prime. Let's go, Buffaloes. I'm on the hype train.
Go ahead, Gio.
I'm not on the hype train yet, but it was good to see. And, man, Deion just coming in there first game and just kind of just shocking the world. Now, TCU obviously was in the national championship game last year, and,
right.
They did lose 65-7. But nonetheless, I thought they would defensively play a lot better. They did lose a lot of players from last last season's team. But the offense, the flow, the defense, running the football, it's like they would run through a wall for Deion Sanders. And the amount of new players that came into this program, and we saw all the highlights when he first came in. Most of those players are not even there anymore, right? They couldn't make the cut. And just to have so many new players, Sanders just, man, he looked like a top 10 prospect for the first game of the season. But it's interesting this week, right? Nebraska's coming in. I mean, Boulder, Colorado, it's hard to get a ticket right now. I looked, and I think one ticket was like $350 starting. So from a team that won one game last year to now selling out their stadium, it's remarkable. But I want to pump the brakes just a little bit because, we tend to sometimes anoint people right away, but it's a good start for Colorado. I think it's a tough matchup, though, against Nebraska. They did lose last week, but I like what I saw. And these games, the Big Ten, they're going to want to slow this game down. So expect a heavy dose to the run from Nebraska. I'm actually picking the upset this week. I think Nebraska goes in and upsets and brings the Buffaloes a little bit down to earth this week.
Yeah, man. I think that's just the power of Dion. Because 2 weeks ago, you would never say that Dion would be upsetting anybody based off of how they looked at the strength of schedule. I just think that's the power of Dion. Coming into this game, I think me and King talked about it last week. We thought about 6 or 7 games.
Right.
I always thought they were going to be competitive, but I wouldn't be upset if they lost the game. But for them to come out there, win game, put up 40-plus points, I knew what Travis Hunter was about. I just wanted to see what Shadur Sanders' deep ball was going to look like, what Shadur was, how well it was going to translate week 1. And man, I don't think a lot of people talk about it, but how fast they were moving that offense within that first possession, knowing that these are not guys that play with each other for 3 years, 2 years, even 1 year, even 2-3 months, for them to just have collection of talents like from all over the country and to be able to just, move that offense, especially that first possession, even get people off sides for, hot little minute for a 15-yard penalty. It was remarkable. It was remarkable to see. The culture has already been set. He's already changed the culture there already. And I'm not saying that they didn't have confidence, but when you beat a ranked team and you see your kids respond and react to just knocking off a TCU, that exudes even more confidence going into this next schedule. That whatever Prime has been telling us, it's not that we didn't already believe it. We still do believe it. We believe it even more.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Nebraska, even if they lose this game, I know that they're going to be competitive. I know that they're not going
to
it may be a field goal. It may be a touchdown. So he already shut those narratives down because me and King was already like, there's a lot of people that will say, yo, he'd be lucky to win 2-3 games. Well, he's 1 or 2 away from exceeding that expectation.
Hey, he already exceeded the 1 win. They were 111. Yeah. He's already tied that for the first week.
Yeah, you look at things like this, understanding that Travis Hunter is technically still a sophomore. Shadur can still play another year after this year, and the recruits that they have coming into next year, that's the real scary part. That's what is really key. This was kind of like the year, like we don't know, and it seems like he's going to have a good solid year too. But he has some boys ready to compete. What's up, Keith? Talking about the only time they lose is maybe USC or Utah. Hey, look, it is any given Saturday, so I won't give it up. I won't give it up to everybody.
Hey, you can't forget about Oregon. Oregon's right there too.
Yeah, that is that is true.
So my friend just commented, Jose Santos. He's now a Colorado fan. He told me last week that he left Virginia. He left Virginia Tech. He left his team since I knew him since high school.
He left believes his team that much.
He believes. He talked to. He said he talked to Dion. He said he believes now. So now he's a fan.
Okay. There you go.
Hey, look, I believe. I think 2 things can be true. I can not necessarily believe in Colorado to its capacity just yet, but I definitely believe in Dion.
Oh yeah,
you ain't got to prove nothing to me.
It's the energy, man. That energy is.
His post game speech had me ready to put the pads on.
I'm saying
that's what I'm saying.
I was ready to get out there. I'm 43 years old. I knew I can't do a lot like I used to be able to, but hey, I was gonna go out there and try.
I was gonna be ready to strap up for real. So with that being said, and somebody also in the comments, I saw this asking, do we think that Travis Hunter can keep on doing what he's doing on both sides of the ball at that quantity? Now, look, I'm gonna let y'all. I'm gonna let y'all give it up. I'm gonna give it to Gio first to see how he feels about it. But how we feel about that.
I think he can, but it's asking a lot. I mean, to play both sides of the football, high level, right? Pac-12, kind of known for its offense. Man, to be running around and going on defense and kind of the athleticism of a lot of these teams in that conference, I just don't think it's sustainable. We see Otani in baseball, though it's a bit different. There's time to kind of regroup. But no, I just don't see it being sustainable, honestly. I mean, a two-way player in college football is one thing. If he goes to the NFL, I highly doubt them wanting to see him be a two-way.
I don't think he can sustain it. College football is football itself is just a brutal sport, period. And playing at college on the college level is even more physical than it was for him in high school or maybe even at Jackson State. But I would love to see it, but I don't think he can. I don't think he can do it based on that. He played over 100 snaps this past weekend. He's gonna play over 100 snaps his next couple. I don't think so. So now, as much as I would love to say it, and I probably sound like kind of like a hater, but
This guy said he's going to win the Heisman. Come on.
that's a lot. Like Dio said, it's asking for a lot.
He's asking for a lot,
And
man.
time he gets to the NFL, that's going to be out. He's probably going to be. Well, they did that. They teased that with Dion when he was with the Cowboys. I remember back in the day, he played a little. Of course, he played some DB, but he lined up as a receiver from time to time. But that's how I would see Travis Hunter in the NFL. But
I mean, Dion did play baseball, but football. We're talking about football, Jose. Football here, not football. Baseball is football.
No. Dion lined up as a receiver sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was every now and again. So it was like a novelty act, if anything.
Yeah, I think that in a perfect scenario, especially in the NFL, they're probably going to give him offensive packages at best, because at the end of the day, you're trying to protect an asset. At the end of the day, but and for 99.999% of college football players, I'm gonna say, hey yo, this is not sustainable. You shouldn't even be doing this. You shouldn't even be doing what you did at TCU last week. But Travis Hunter, I will admit, that man was a little different. My mind completely changed after I saw him in the locker room dancing, ready to go out and play a whole nother game after playing so many snaps. So I do think his stamina is just unreal. You obviously don't want to abuse it. But I also think that he is benefiting from somebody that knows exactly his predicament in Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders knows exactly how to thread that needle, when to push him, when to slow him down. He wasn't practicing for at least the next 3 or 4 days. He said, I don't want him practicing until Wednesday. So I think he knows, he's in the right hands with Deion Sanders doing this and experimenting with this anyway. So that's the only reason why I feel comfortable with whatever Deion decides to do with Travis Hunter. I know he's not going to put him in a bad position, in a bad spotlight, but I do agree. Once we get to the NFL and money's on the line, it's probably going to be defensive heavy. And then every once in a while, hey, yo, you'll line up here, you'll line up there. But it's not going to be this 100 snap stuff come to NFL. But he can rock with it in college. Get him in some Big 12 defenses. He'll be all right. But wanted to shift from there, since that was an upset. There was a few more upsets happening this past week. I was gonna ask y'all, what was the more impressive upset, or who do you think had a better upset, or if you think Colorado was the biggest upset? We had Duke beat Clemson. We had LSU. We had the LSU FSU ordeal. Just break it down for me if there was any college football games that you think was more impressive from a win perspective. I'll give it to King first.
It's definitely Duke. It's definitely Duke. It's not every day we see a unranked team beat a number 9 team, and normally when we do see that, it's a close game. They blew them out, 28-7. Now, if we were playing Madden or we were playing NCAA, that's 21 skunk, give up the sticks, go get your ice pop and get out of here. You know what I'm saying? The way the why was impressive is like if you're looking at I looked at the box scores. It looked like Clemson could have had that game. Clemson led, they controlled the ball. They had I'm sorry, they had the offense was doing a little bit better. Clemson controlled the ball, but Duke beat them came when it mattered most of the turnovers. Duke came out, and it was I couldn't believe it. When I was looking, I couldn't look at the game itself because I was smoking some ribs at the time, and I was paying attention to my feed, paying attention to my Facebook or whatever. And my friend, he put it on there. He was like, "I've never heard Duke's fight song this many times," and I was like, "Okay, this game must be close." So I chimed in. And it was 28-7. I was like, "Wow, this is crazy. I never would have thought this would happen." Not to a Dabo Swinney Clemson team, but
yeah,
it is what it is. It happened.
Duke, of course, is obviously the obvious first choice. I mean, 28-7. When I saw that score, because I was watching some other games, you got to do like a double take. You're like, wait, what?
Exactly.
28-7.
Exactly.
I got another one, though. How about Wyoming beating Texas Tech? Wyoming did return, I believe, most of their starters on defense. And even though Texas Tech threw it around, I think they threw for about 330 yards. Wyoming's defense didn't break enough, obviously, to win that game. But Texas Tech, they got a big game this week. Kind of looking ahead. But Wyoming played just barely enough on offense to score, keep it close, grind it out, and they got the win. And kudos to them. Texas Tech, I got some friends in Texas. They love their Raiders. I think it's just a big disappointment to lose. Though, why is that game in Wyoming anyway? It's like, why wouldn't it just be in Texas Tech? To put yourself through that, to go on the road all the way somewhere where I think Wyoming's had some other upsets throughout the years at home. So, but Texas Tech, but Duke, man, dude, 28-7. I couldn't show my face in campus after that.
28-7. The quote unquote basketball school. Yeah, you couldn't see me. You couldn't see me. I would be doing online classes for
one point to make.
Minute.
So many good quarterbacks, good performances last week we saw. I think, obviously the kid from USC is that probably going to be number one pick, but there are a lot of good quarterbacks coming out.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I think that, at least for me, I saw that Duke Clemson game. I was at work and, the TV was on. In the back of my mind, like it was second quarter, third quarter. I was like, oh, okay. Like, Dabo gonna bring this back. Like this was a cool little story, and it just never turned around. I was just like, wow, this is very impressive on the defensive end as well.
Certain a point from Dabo, he was a big pushback against players getting paid, and he said he gotta go find a new job. Well, if he keep losing like this, he gonna find a new job.
I agree. I think he was somebody that wasn't prone on just going all in on the transfer portal, if I'm not mistaken.
Like, I think now we know why.
Yeah, yeah, we know why. When you've benefited from dealing with Deshaun Watson and then going into Trevor Lawrence, and now you're into this off period where you didn't necessarily recruit the best compared to your other counterparts. It's gonna be tough for Dabo, at least for this season, but he gonna have to flex his muscles. You got people like Dion that's gonna steal from the transfer portal, take your recruits, gonna take your best people. You saw how he was, you saw how he was dapping people up against a TCU. Had them boys ready. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy too. Only I think two schools, right? I think Auburn was in the mix too, right? Of trying to get Dion, and they just didn't pull the plug. Imagine him at Auburn, and.
Jeez. Oh, don't get King started.
I'm thinking to myself, why did more schools, and obviously it's hindsight, right? Because like,
Gio, they didn't believe.
They didn't believe. They didn't believe.
What's crazy? My girlfriend, she went to Indiana, right? So she's a big Hoosier fan, and man, their football program is just, it's crappy, right? But I'm thinking to myself, man, why wouldn't they go out and say, hey, this ain't working. Let's go with Dion, and who knows what could have been, but a lot of schools missed out.
I don't think people believe like Colorado when you revisit that topic, like Colorado was like, yo, we don't even have the money for you yet, but we gonna have it for you. That's some real belief. Like they told them straight
That's
up, hey,
true though. They got no
we don't
money.
have it. We don't have it, but we gonna get it for you. We gonna make sure it happens. And they got they got the alumni association to raise the money, and then they got it to them.
It's
And
gonna get business
that's
together,
real
buddy.
belief right there.
Yo,
That's
Hey, man, go get that
that's
Crown
some
Royal.
crazy
Come back out
faith,
the car.
Some crazy faith. What's up, Marlon?
What's good, Marlon? Welcome to the show. Speaking of belief and what we believe in and what we do not believe in, Caleb Williams' father, Caleb Williams, the quarterback for USC. His father had, I guess he was interviewing from a magazine company. I wasn't sure if it was GQ or not, threatening to, have his son go back to college depending on who gets the number one pick. People hinting at the Cardinals or any other dysfunctional franchise in the NFL. Wanted to know your first reactions or how you even feel about the whole notion of Caleb Williams even going back to college after this season. Send it to Gio first.
Well, this is the Pandora box. When you start paying players and some of these players getting paid more now than they would in their first year in the NFL, you open up this box and things like this are going to potentially happen. Now, the Arizona Cardinals, we kind of see what they're doing over there. They really trying to tank that, and they're doing it in a way where, hey, let's make Kyler Murray our quarterback, or our captain, should I say, actually, which was kind of weird how the coach put the captain. But anyway, they're doing some things there that they trying to get that number one pick, but the father is interesting. Now he's throwing it out there, and this could be a potential. I doubt it, though. I mean, have your son play in the NFL, and you would come back to college, potentially get hurt. I mean, we saw with Matt Leinart. Now, he didn't get hurt, but he was just never, like, his next year just wasn't all that great. But this is the box that you open. Some players just may want to say because the money's better, and the franchise that they might go to just won't be enough. Now, I'm a big Rams fan. Now, Caleb, if the Rams get number one pick, you better come, man, because this is LA.
Let's go.
So, don't leave us hanging. But look, this opened up the box, and not surprised by this at all.
Go ahead, King.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, it makes sense. Like, think about it. Like, John Elway did this a long time ago with Baltimore, drafted him, threatened to sit out. He actually did sit out for a little bit before they traded his rights to Denver. Caleb Williams, 100%. Gio hit the nail on the head. It's a money grab. It's a money thing. And also, like, you don't want to play for like a piss poor, like a dumpster fire of an organization like the Arizona Cardinals are right now. You don't want to jump into that. For his father, yeah, absolutely. I agree with him. I'll say, hey, if the money ain't gonna be there, if it's gonna be a weak organization, hey, sit down. Let's stay in LA one more year. But hey, I'm with you when it comes to the Rams. Let's go to the Rams.
Man, I don't know about all that, man. I ain't gonna lie. That's weak. Hey, first of all, I'm gonna say I understand that this is his father's words, not his words. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like he said this. But from a general, this is weak, man. I'm sorry. I don't. You're not moving me with this. First of all, I think it's kept, but I think I don't believe it. It is. Every time we have somebody that's either generational or can be really great, we always float this idea. We did this with Trevor Lawrence. They wanted to change the rules to get him out here even earlier. Joe Burrow. When Cincinnati came up, that it was just a hint that he can go back and Cincinnati's franchise was just crazy. And what he do that second year? Took him to the Super Bowl. What did Trevor Lawrence do? They ended up beating Justin Herbert and them boys just last year after being down. Me personally, If you are
Yeah, you're right.
if as advertised, you know what I mean, go out there and turn the franchise around.
No, you're right
Like
on that.
go to the Cardinals, turn it around. Let's not act like Cardinals have been a crazy dumpster fire for 10, 12 years. They was just in the playoffs 2 years ago. So he can turn it around if he wants to. But to sit here and just go, if he goes back to college, I'm looking at him a little differently. Not gonna lie, I might eye Shadur Sanders just a little bit heavier, just off of that move alone, because I know Shadur got the dog in him. I don't know about you, but like I said, I know that this was his father speaking. You know what I mean, not him. So I'm not gonna go crazy on it. But it's, and look, when we talk about Trevor Lawrence and um Joe Burrow, we talking about national champions. We talking about people that had way better collegiate resumes when he even hinted at even going back to college for another year. Now, I respect Caleb Williams, and he has a Heisman Trophy. I know that he's that consensus number one overall pick. But we out here praying and and hoping that he gets in and cracks into the top four. He's not even solidified yet. So we doing a whole lot of talking. Hey, you better be good. You better be elite if you talking like this and coming into the NFL. That's all I have to say about it. But that's my view on it. I just don't believe it. I just think NFL GMs look at this and it's like, okay, that little $9 million in NIL, that NIL money, that's cool. That's not $80 million though. You feel me? Like,
That's true. And you know what? Like you said, Greg, if he's that good, it shouldn't matter what. But I will say, we saw Trevor Lawrence that first year with Mr. Urban Meyer over there kicking
absolutely.
his kicker, and we saw now with an actual coach in Doug Peterson. So, the coach they have now, which is the guy from the Eagles? I think he was the coordinator.
I forgot his name.
Yeah,
Is it Gannon?
Yeah,
is it Jonathan Gannon?
Is Gannon just there for a year as a filler, and then they go out there next year if they get the number one pick, and then go get an actual, I think, a proven commodity? I guess we'll see. But Caleb, if you're that guy, listen, it shouldn't matter if you go to NFL Europe. You know what I'm saying? You should be good to go.
Like you should, like I said, you should be straight. But look, me personally, I just think NFL GMs are outside of Eli Manning that really did it for real. Mm-hmm. People flirt with this idea; it never goes through. At the end of the day, kids want to get drafted, and if you're gonna get drafted number one, anything can happen. Just go. And then, you can force your way out if you want to. I've never seen a quarterback be held captive. You're not a running back. Like, I've never seen a quarterback just not been able to do what he really wants to do, even at a star level. You know what I mean? So I've never, it's very rare to see somebody get franchise tagged. If you really want to make some movement, go ahead and make some movement, but don't put your money in jeopardy. And, if I don't disrespect my parents, but I'll find a way to say it politely. Dad, let's just be quiet about it. Let's not do
I
all
hope he
this,
doesn't become like another LeVar Ball.
Yeah, that only works in basketball, man.
LeVar Ball and T. Moran. I hope he don't become one of those.
Man, Freddie, stop talking about the Giants, man. Come on. This ain't Giant podcast over here, bro.
Yikes. Yikes. Come on,
it's college football, Freddie.
Come on now. We talking about big dogs on campus. You out here talking about Eli. That is crazy. All right. From there, big game, probably the biggest game of the week, Texas versus Alabama. Outside of any other game that I may be missing, I know that we are so excited to see Georgia beat Ball State. But Texas versus Alabama, what are the expectations? Who do you think comes out on top? What are y'all looking to see? I'm going to give it to Gio first.
SEC. Really? Listen, last year, I think it was a fluke. I think Alabama going to beat the brakes off of Texas today. And I think Nick Saban was trying to prove a point this season. And he keeps hearing about Kirby Smart, and Georgia this, and Georgia that, and all the dogs we hear. Nick Saban, I believe that team is on a mission. And I think today, we're going to see an Alabama team that's going to come out and kind of flex his muscles. I'm going Alabama big here.
Alabama big.
I'm an Auburn guy, and as much as I would love to see Texas walk the dog with Alabama, I have to agree with Gio, man. People say Texas is back. I'm one of the people who believes Texas is not back. So I'm taking Alabama with this big time. Bigly, as a former president would say.
Man, Gene said Texas wins outright. All right, Gene.
Okay. Hey,
You know what? I hope Gene is right.
You know what, Gene? I actually hope you're right, Gene. Like low key.
I hope you're actually right. I hope you're right. That's just the Auburn in me.
yeah. I don't know. As somebody that's from Texas, I just need them to lose. It'd be funny seeing their fans just cry and like I think I told King this earlier. You know that is the college franchise. It's the Dallas Cowboys of college football when it comes to just their fan base and how they feel about certain things and thinking that they're always going to go to the national championship like they still have Vince Young or something. It's just like I get it. It's a good team. Ewers is a good quarterback. I'm really looking forward to Arch Manning this next season. But Alabama's going to win this. I'm not going out on a limb and saying pretty handedly. It's going to be. I think it's going to be close. It may be like a field goal type of ordeal, maybe even a touchdown. It might go back. It might go back and forth. But yeah, let go ahead, Texas. I just like seeing Texas lose. Me personally, from somebody, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
They also got their own network, which is kind of annoying. I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What the heck? They got
know
their
why
own network.
I love that set. I like to see Alabama lose too. Like, I mean, I enjoy watching. I enjoy watching the football. They're a very talented football game. They're pretty fun to watch, believe it or not. But watching them lose because of the fans just does something to my soul.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, as a Georgia fan, finally, 2 years ago, getting over the hump. I mean, it was for over a decade. Every now and again we play Alabama, in the SEC championship or just a regular season, just getting beat. To finally beat them, to get over the top, and then to win last year. But Alabama's still there, though. You know what I'm saying?
They're still there.
Yeah, Alabama's still Alabama. I'm not going to disrespect them, but man, I don't know.
I will.
I don't know. It'll be one of these games where they barely get they get a call they're not supposed to get. They end up winning off of something fluky, and all of a sudden, we really back. We beat Alabama. Then they're going to ride it and then lose to somebody like SMU. Like, okay, chill out, gang. It's okay. It is okay. Other big games of the week. Any other games that you're looking forward to? Games that are under the radar. People are not talking enough about. People, teams that should be more on the lookout after week 1, going into week 2. King, anything you got? Anything you see?
Hey man, Cal versus Auburn, War Eagle. I'm here for that. It's a late game, according to for people back east. But for me, perfect time.
Okay,
perfect time. Okay. So I'm looking for Auburn. I'm looking to see what they're going to do for the rest of this season with Hugh Freeze. We taking on the Cal Bears. See what happens, man.
Okay. I know you love Ball State, Georgia, but is it that game? Is there any other game that you see that you're like, you know what, this is something I'm looking forward to personally of watching?
Obviously Georgia versus Ball State. Watch out, North Carolina State versus Notre Dame this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think North Carolina State upsets Notre Dame. That's a game that I'm kind of interested in, and I'm also putting some money down. But Colorado, Nebraska, though, man, I'm just really interested to watch that game. Even though it's kind of a game where if Deion wasn't there and they happened to be ranked, maybe I just isn't a game I watch. But Colorado, Nebraska is the game that I'm really, really interested in watching this week. And then also, watch out for this game, Utah versus Baylor. I know Baylor lost to Texas Texas State, right? Last week, I believe. But watch out because, college football, it kind of lends itself to games like this. You come off of a big high, you riding high. They beat Florida or whatever's left of Florida. And watch out, Baylor could be an upset pick against the team.
Now, for my real fans in the South in Texas, I know y'all finna be tapped into that Houston versus Rice, but I understand, the mass is not gonna really pick that one up. It's okay. It's cool. It's understandable. But other games that I'm just gonna have on TV, not really gonna watch until it goes crazy, but it's gonna be on the background. Iowa State, it's just gonna be on. Don't really know much about them, but it's just gonna be on the TV. And then if it gets kind of crazy, kind of spicy, I might turn the channel, might turn the volume a little up. Another one I might go with is Texas Tech, Oregon. Now I will be tuned into that one. I will be locked in on that one. I do need to see if what happened to Texas Tech was a fluke or if they are a little bit better than advertised against number 13 Oregon. I think Texas Tech, they're not giving them much of a chance. I think they can still pull it out though. Me personally, I think that maybe that's just the Texas in me. I don't even like Tech like that, but it's something that's going to be on my radar. Finally, last game that will just be on the TV, not really paying attention to it until it goes crazy. Cincinnati Pitt. Want to see that one. Shout out to Cincinnati that we were I was watching a lot of their conference games last year, these past couple of years. They've been making some real strides. So I'm looking forward to those three teams.
I got one more for you,
Go
Greg.
ahead. Go ahead.
Ole Miss versus Tulane, two ranked teams.
Yes.
We saw Tulane. Did they beat USC in that bowl game last year? I believe. I think it was. Was it? Yeah. Yes, it was last year. Watch out! I think that's going to be a high scoring game, and two ranked teams going at it. Tulane just a few years ago was not Tulane as what they are right now, but Ole Miss versus Tulane should be a good matchup.
Absolutely. Shout
I
out
have
to
one
Adam.
more.
Go ahead.
I have one more. Stanford, USC. For whatever reason it is, Stanford is a thorn in USC's side. It doesn't. I watched a couple years ago. Stanford came into the Coliseum and just beat the brakes off of USC. With Caleb Williams, this is going to be different to see what happens, but it's always a very tough game. I don't know USC could be doing great the entire season, and they run up on Stanford and forget how to play football. I guess I don't know, but we'll see what happens with that. I'll be tuning that one in.
Yeah. And of course, the big game that I know everybody, I'm going to have my volume up. Colorado versus Nebraska. Of course, that one is going to be pretty big. Before I go into my next topic, I did want to see what y'all had today. Who did y'all have winning between Nebraska versus Colorado? Just not final score, but who do you think is going to end up winning that game today?
I'm taking the Buffaloes.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I'm taking the Buffaloes in this one. We talked about believing. I believe in Coach Prime, and I believe in those kids over there.
Go ahead.
I believe in Prime, but not this week. I believe Nebraska somehow, and God's green earth is going to go in there, and they're going to bring them boys back down to earth. Don't ask me how. What's the score? I have no idea. They lost last week, but I think this Big Ten team will come in, slow the game down, right? Run the football. Play Big Ten football. Slow it down. Don't be in a shootout, because if they try to be in a shootout with this team, I think that's when slow it down, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, play good D, and we'll see what happens.
The only way I think Nebraska wins this game is if, somehow they get one of those phones and sneak into their locker room and record Dion motivating his players. And once they get that motivation, they're going to be motivated to play, and then they'll end up going ahead and win it. But outside of that, man, when I hear a speech like that, it's hard for me to root against Deion Sanders after one of those speeches. Maybe it's the bias in me. maybe it's a lot of things, but man, like I said, it's bigger than Shador and Travis Hunter, man. They got a lot of talent on that field. We ain't even touched on the running back. And they got Horn Jr. over there playing. It's a lot of moving parts there. But I ultimately have Colorado, but I will not be surprised if Nebraska does win. Nebraska does win. It's not going to be shocking to me, but I do have Colorado winning.
Yeah, just play physical. And I think we saw the offensive line of Colorado hold up enough last week against TCU, but we know how these Big Ten teams play. I mean, we see it. They're going to try to slow this down, be physical up front, and we're going to see – because that's one thing that I wasn't sure about was the line of scrimmage with Colorado.
Yeah.
Could they hold up?
Yeah.
TCU wasn't obviously there just yet, but Nebraska, they're going to try to be as physical as possible, and we'll see. Something's got to give.
Yeah, Freddie was like, yo, what about their defense? And to my answer is, man, look, what about it? I ain't gonna lie to you, man. This is not SEC for real. Like, I mean, Colorado chose the right time to go to the Big 12, man. Y'all know how they love the Big 12 defense. Even when they go out of conference and even when they play Pac and when they play Big 10 or whoever they end up playing, it's not like they playing no kind of Alabamas, no kind of nothing that has the elitist of defense. Not like they're playing Georgia defense. Not that I know of. Maybe I messed up the schedule. I don't think they're playing Georgia. Other than that, I don't have any doubts. If they turn it into a shooting contest, I'm definitely putting my money on Deion because I know that they could put points up on the board at a very high clip. Did y'all want to respond to that?
No, I mean I get it, man. Looking at last week's game, Colorado was basically playing a Big 12 style game anyway. You know what I mean? So like as far as defense, I don't expect a lot from them for defensively, but you get in the shootout with Nebraska. That's gonna be the last thing Nebraska wants to do.
They gave up a lot of points last week, so like we know their defense. It's probably bend don't break and try to put up as enough points as possible. But I think Nebraska and their coach, which is Rule, used to coach for the Panthers, and we saw him at Baylor a few years ago. Trust me, I know they're going to try to run this thing and try to be as physical, and hopefully a few turnovers here that go their way, and they end up winning.
Right. Hey, look, I said it could be anybody. I did see somebody's comment that said, hey, we just saw Colorado walk into the stadium. This definitely gonna be a good game. Yeah, I know. The boys was on the buses. Deion was on the bus. Trust me, I'm locked in. I know
it's gonna be loud,
on.
Man. It's gonna be loud in that stadium. That stadium will be loud.
Top 3 beautiful sceneries from a football stadium standpoint. They got a whole mountain view. Like it's crazy. Boulder, insane. But the last topic that I wanted to get into, it was a new topic that I wanted to introduce to the pod. Marginal Heisman watch of the week. Basically, what it is they may not even be dark horses for the Heisman, but their performance from last week has led you to put them on the radar. People that we need to start seeing more, putting a magnifying glass on. And for me, that person is Shedeur Sanders for me. I had Travis Hunter kind of in the mix. I knew he was going to be that dog. But for me, Shedeur Sanders is somebody I'm definitely going to have a magnifying glass on just to see, I'm not saying that last week was an outlier, but I'm not expecting him to have 500 yards every single week. Let me see what it looks like when the trenches aren't as clean as usual. I want to see some different things out of him. But he seems very poised, and I want to see if that poise carries over from week to week. So that's who I'm having for my Heisman watch of the week. What about you? I'll go King.
Man, you stole my thunder. That's exactly who I was going to pick. Shedeur Sanders. Last week I said this was Caleb Williams' trophy to lose. Then I saw Shedeur Sanders put up the numbers he put up, and he's definitely on the watch. Travis Hunter's another guy I put on my watch too.
For sure.
someone going both ways, having the outstanding game the way he played last week. And we said over 100 yards receiving, and then he had one pick, almost 2 picks in that game, and just see him ball out. So if he can sustain, I can see him being a Heisman Trophy winner. And Shedeur Sanders can continue this, he would easily win the Heisman.
Well, Sanders clearly had a phenomenal week. I got another one for you. The quarterback over there at Washington, Michael Pickens Jr., he threw for 450. He had 5 touchdowns.
That's another good one.
Sure, it's Tulsa, but hey, you put up 5 touchdowns and 450 yards passing. Yeah. They're going to sling it around, and that's a team to watch out for. Jordan Travis, hey, Florida State, they did beat, the LSU. So, I mean, he played well. He had 1 interception, 4 touchdowns, but those are the 2 guys. But Sanders and, of course, Caleb Williams. I mean, he threw for 5 touchdowns, and he had a ball that fumbled, right? And he just threw it. I'm like, hey, Sean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He pretty much picked it up and dusted it all, blew it.
He picked it off, threw it, and I'm thinking to myself, man, he would look really good in the Rams uniform. But look, those 3 guys, but Sanders, man, it was something about that win against. Listen, I believe, Dion. I just don't believe 100%. It's going to take me a little bit to see what y'all do against Nebraska, but they're going to have a good year, though. So, yeah, those are my 3 guys right now.
Yeah. Michael Pickens, another great one. Jordan Travis, he had a solid game. Going in, definitely for me, I'm always going to have 3, and I'm going to take some people off and gradually put them back up whenever they have good games. Really thought Marvin Harrison Jr. was finna go crazy. Had a slow start this past week. I do think that he ramps it back up this week and kind of redeems himself. But he was somebody that was just like, yo, if there was any wide receiver that had an opportunity to get
against
this,
Indiana,
get this done.
Mm.
It at Indy, against Indiana at that, you know what I mean? It's not like we talking about some other schools, you know what I mean? No disrespect, but it's like if it was any wide receiver that can do it, I thought it was going to be him. I think he can still be that. I know it's just 1 week, but I'm gonna have to take him down a notch just so he can get his mind right. Maybe he can get back into that top 3 for me. Is there anybody that you thought was going to have a bigger week, was a little lackluster or like to be desired on y'all end from a college football perspective? It can be player or team. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in Ohio State in that game against Indiana. Like you, I was expecting a lot more from them. Expecting a lot more, and it just didn't get it.
Yeah,
I don't understand how they struggled against Indiana. That still baffles my mind.
Yeah, Indiana, they had a lot of transfer portals coming in, and their offense just wasn't there just yet. But I'm gonna go with Duke. I mean, Clemson. It looked very flat and just disappointing. Mm-hmm. And for a program as successful as they've been, to lose like that, penalties, fumble, it looked like no heart out there, and just 28-7 to Duke. And no disrespect to Duke, that quarterback at Duke played very well. But probably the biggest just kind of setback, man, okay, this NIL is really changing things. And your booster, your boosters, man, putting in money. I mean, hey, you got to get money these days, man. Like the days of saying, hey, this is a pipeline in the NFL. Look, players want money, and that's what's happening right now. And, I mean, Georgia had a defensive tackle. He was a rookie last year. I forgot his name. But he ended up going to USC for more money. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, Duke versus Clemson. That was probably the biggest surprise of the week.
Yeah, from a smaller scale, I was definitely disappointed in LSU. Thought they was going to put up a lot better fight I thought it was going to be a really good game. I bought nachos. I bought a lot of things for the game, and then I just was like, bro, like why did I even waste my time? I should have just put a lot more energy in the Deion Sanders game,
Mhm.
on that Saturday. You see, my fault, Deion. I should have had that
He
preparation for
didn't
you
believe,
instead.
Dion. He didn't
He didn't
believe.
believe.
I
Hey, go
believe.
get him.
I
He didn't
believed.
believe.
I believed. I just, I just didn't know. I ain't know, but I believed though. You know what I mean? But for LSU, it's not that I didn't believe. I just think I believe too much. You know what I mean? I think you could believe in something too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Believe
you
in
can.
LSU a little too much. Shout out to Jordan Travis. Did played a great game. And LSU got this is not 2019 no more. Joe Burrow is not in that driver's seat. Y'all gonna have to
They
make
got
something
lucky
work.
though with Joe Burrow. Let's be
They
Oh,
real.
for
Though.
sure, for
for
sure,
They got
sure,
lucky,
for
yo.
sure.
absolutely. Another
They
fumble,
Sure.
another fumble by Ohio State. That's crazy, but like,
they got lucky, and I think that's the year that Georgia they didn't have Fields. We let him go. But they got lucky, man. That team, the coach at the time was I think it's Ed
Ed Orgeron.
Yeah, Orgeron. He
Coach
got
Ed.
lucky, man. That dude got real lucky getting that quarterback.
Oh yeah,
super
he
lucky.
he parlayed that into like a couple more years at LSU.
Yep, he sure did.
He got a
And
couple more years out of
and he
that.
got that money.
Oh, he
yeah.
got that
He
money.
got that money.
Now he just on just random sidelines, just doing anything. He just out here
Saying some
walking
people don't
around.
understand.
I think that's crazy. Oh man, any last words before we end this show? Any last things I want to give a shout out to? Any college teams? Anything y'all got going on that you want to say on your chest? Anything that you want to plant on your flag and be like, hey, yo, this is going to happen today? Shout out to them.
Hey, go Buffs. They're gonna knock off. I believe they're gonna knock off Nebraska, despite what my man Gio says. But
Mm.
Hey, listen,
knock off
I'm
Nebraska.
Nebraska over Colorado. Something just tells me that's going to happen. Shout out to Georgia. We're trying to three-peat this year. I don't think it's going to happen. I didn't love what I saw, especially in that first half last week, but shout out to them, and shout out to Indiana to beat Indiana State last night. So
A nice Indiana plug, I know I know where that's still from. It's cool. I gotta do the same thing. It's cool. But go first of all, go Cougs. You know what I mean? University of Houston. You know what I mean? I'm not really excited about y'all from a football perspective. I'm not gonna lie to you. Basketball, that's a whole different subject. But for football, not really excited. Y'all ended up squeaking out a win against UTSA. Needed that to be a bigger win. You're in the Big 12 now, so you need to be, a little bit better than that. Playing Rice, but look, you're going to be playing Baylor. You're going to be playing TCU. You're going to be playing Texas. You're going to be playing a lot of these schools in the Big 12. I need y'all to tighten up for me, because if I go back here and we end up 4-0, and I start throwing this hoodie on, and then you just get mocked by Texas, I'm not going to hear the end of it. Especially the way I be talking bad about Texas. So I need y'all to tighten up. Let's stay focused, all right? But with that being said, this has been a great episode. Can't wait for y'all to come back and discuss what happens next week. Hopefully we believe even more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hopefully we believe.
Believe, people. You gotta believe.
Hey,
Gotta believe.
if Colorado loses, I wonder if that reporter is going to say, hey, I try to believe, Dion.
Hey,
It's possible. Because listen, Dion really came after that reporter. And I wonder,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
I love
what
it.
that name was of the reporter, but that's going to be interesting to see if that reporter is there at that game if they end up losing.
Oh man, Deion came with like a CVS length of receipts.
He ready. I think
Ready.
if Colorado beat you, if they beat Nebraska, if they beat USC, I might buy me a hoodie. I might buy me a
Wow,
hoodie.
look at this.
You
know what?
I might do it. I might do
I
it.
hope Colorado goes to playoffs and plays Georgia. I hope.
For what?
If they do,
What are we doing?
if
You
they
know what's
do,
gonna happen,
then
right?
Hey, look, I said I believe, but look, let's come on, chill, gang.
Yeah, relax.
Why are you trying to rush the process? We talking about a bowl game.
Hey man, trust the process,
No,
man.
big,
Don't be.
you already put him in the playoffs.
Trust the process, man.
Oh my God, I'm trying to. You speed it up. You speed that thing up, man. But it's been another great episode. Can't wait to see y'all next week and discuss college football. This is the Big Dogs on Campus. Have a great day.
What are we talking about? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play. Come after me! I'm a man! I'm for you!